On the day of the casting call, I slipped onto the set, planning to surprise my long-term boyfriend, the director Julian. He, however, was already holding the hand of his beloved muse, Mila, announcing to the crew that she was, and always would be, his only leading lady. Mila spotted me then, a flicker of malice in her eyes. She leaned into him, her voice deceptively sweet. "If you say things like that, won't your girlfriend at home get jealous?" Julian scoffed, a sound dripping with disdain. "Her? She's a no-name, a third-rate actress utterly devoid of talent. She's not worthy of carrying my film." I turned and walked away. The moment I was clear of the set, I dialed a number. "Leo? About that film you offered me. I'll do it." It was past 1 in the morning when Julian finally came home, flushed with success and a smug satisfaction. I was in the middle of packing a suitcase. He strolled over, eyeing my efforts with amusement. "And what's all this?" I didn't even look up. "I'm joining a new production," I said flatly. He laughed as if it were the funniest joke he'd ever heard. "Stella, if you're going to lie, at least make it believable. Besides me, with your acting skills, who else would possibly cast you?" I ignored him, continuing to fold my clothes. It was only when I clicked the suitcase shut that his patience snapped. "What is wrong with you, acting like this in the middle of the night?" he snarled, his voice laced with annoyance. He snatched the suitcase from my hand and shoved it aside. "Are you giving me the silent treatment?" Listening to the anger in his voice, I explained calmly, "No." He snorted, his tone shifting to one of magnanimous charity. "Stop this nonsense. I've saved a role for you in the new film. Female number 4. In the past, I would have clung to him, demanding to know why I wasn't the lead. He would have offered some flimsy excuse, promised me next time, and I would have caved, agreeing to play another brainless supporting character for free. This time, I just asked the question that had been sitting in my heart for years. When will I finally be your leading lady? A flicker of panic crossed his eyes, quickly masked by a familiar, cutting tone. When you have the talent for it. Another lie. Another deflection. Mila may have had a spark of talent once, but now she was widely regarded as little more than a pretty face. What talent did she possess? Of course, it didn't matter anymore. My heart was a placid lake. Fine, I said. I understand. A satisfied smile touched his lips. See? Isn't it better when you're obedient like this? He cooed. Mila is carrying the film this time. You should watch her on set, learn a thing or two. Mila? They were that close already? I shook my head. No. I won't be in this film. You have to be, he declared, his voice hard as steel. You don't have the right to refuse. I picked up a document from the table and handed it to him. I'll do it. But in return, I want full autonomy over which roles I accept from now on. He waved a dismissive hand, not even bothering to read the paper I'd had drawn up. He scrawled his signature across the bottom. We'll see if you can turn yourself into an award-winning actress with that attitude. Back when we lived together in a cramped basement, dreaming of the future, he'd always sworn that the first thing he'd do as a famous director was make a film that would make me a star. He did eventually make that film. But the star wasn't me. It was Mila. I had fought with him then, screaming, crying, accusing him of betrayal. He hadn't budged, his face a mask of disgust at my hysterics. God, Stella, you're acting like a shrew, he'd sneered. You have the nerve to say these things when your skills just aren't there. I'm embarrassed for you. You're too greedy, always aiming for the top instead of being willing to work your way up from small roles. But Mila's career had been a rocket to the top. She'd debuted as a leading lady and become a household name overnight, famous for her looks, not her talent. Now, he was once again breaking his promise. So, Julian, this is the very last time I will ever compromise for you. When I arrived on set and got the script, I discovered that female number 4 was the leading lady's personal maid. The very first scene involved Mila berating and striking the maid for being disloyal. Before we began, Mila approached me with a look of feigned sympathy. Oh, Stella, I'm so sorry. There's nothing I can do. Julian insisted on realism, no fake slaps. The words were barely out of her mouth before her hand flew across my face. A sharp, stinging heat exploded on my cheek. Before I could even remember my line, she rushed forward, wrapping me in a hug. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Did that hurt? From behind the camera, Julian's voice was filled with affection for her. Silly girl, what's there to apologize for? Then, his tone hardened as he turned to me. Stella, can you try to be a little more professional? A cold laugh escaped my lips. Who's the unprofessional one here? Is she even trying to act, or does she just want to see how many times she can slap me before we get a usable take? Julian knew I was right. The red mark on my face was undeniable. He avoided the subject, telling the makeup artist to cover it up. I remembered when I first started, I had a scene where I had to slap an extra. I did it, just as the script demanded. Afterwards, the look in Julian's eyes had changed. He'd pulled me aside, his voice thick with disappointment. How could you become so callous? Didn't you feel any guilt at all when you hit her? His words had haunted me for weeks. I had apologized to the extra, explained it was just for the scene, and she had understood. Why was it that everyone else could understand it was part of the job, except my own director? Now, Julian didn't offer a single word of comfort. He just went back to coaching Mila, who gazed at him with wide-eyed adoration. He lapped it up. On the next take, Mila's slap was just as merciless. When the scene was finally done, Julian led the crew in a round of applause, praising her as a true artist. My part for the day was over. I sat in a corner, pressing an ice pack to my swollen cheek and reading the script Leo had sent me. It was brilliant. Captivating. He had told me to study it, that he would wait for me. I was so engrossed that I didn't notice Julian until he was right beside me. What are you reading? He asked, leaning in to see. I flinched, snapping my phone shut. Just a trashy romance novel. Want to see? He shot me a disdainful look. You waste your time on that garbage. How do you ever expect to improve? I just shrugged. He didn't press it. Instead, he handed me a cup of coffee. Actually, he said, his voice softer, you did well today. Drink this, it'll help with the swelling. You don't want it to look bad. Was he trying to assuage his own guilt, or was it a genuine compliment? I couldn't tell. I studied his handsome face, trying to read his eyes, but he looked away, uncomfortable. When I didn't take the coffee, his irritation returned. You're 30 years old, Stella. Are you still going to throw childish tantrums? This is a film set, not our home. No one is going to coddle you here. The irony was laughable. Had he ever coddled me at home? Wasn't I always the one to back down, to tolerate, to compromise? He was clearly displeased with my silence and was about to say more when Mila's voice called out to him from across the set. He snapped his mouth shut, shoved the coffee into my hand, and walked away. The issue, it turned out, was a scene where Mila's character had to hide from pursuers by jumping into a well. She was refusing, complaining that the water was dirty. Julian, suddenly the epitome of patience, immediately ordered the crew to drain the well and refill it with bottled water. Only then did Mila grace them with a smile. I had never received such treatment. I remembered a scene where I had to spend a full day crawling through a muddy, foul-smelling pond. A crew member had suggested to Julian that they could just use a green screen. Absurd. Julian had thundered. I demand realism. He'd then taken out all his frustration on me, jabbing a finger in my face. Stella, either do the job or get the hell out. No one here is going to put up with your princess attitude. I ended up with a severe bacterial lung infection and spent over a week in the hospital. My lungs have been weak ever since. All he did was send a bouquet of flowers and then passive-aggressively ask if I was faking it to delay the production. Seeing him now, fawning over Mila, I felt nothing but a dull sense of his absurdity. Mila, seeing me sitting alone, sashayed over, her voice dripping with saccharine sweetness. Stella, I'm so jealous. You have such a wonderful boyfriend. He's so considerate. He agreed to change the water just because I told him I have sensitive skin. He's so much better than those heartless directors. I looked at her, my face a blank mask. Are you done? If so, I'd like to rest. I pulled a blanket over my face, ignoring both of them. Julian, is Stella mad at me? Mila whined, refusing to leave, her voice a constant, grating presence. She kept repeating his name, Julian, Julian, until my head throbbed. I remember once, on a different set, I had let his name slip out. He had frowned, and in front of everyone, barked, "Show some respect. You will call me Director Cheen." Apparently, his rules didn't apply to Mila. Julian didn't wake me. He just soothed Mila and led her away. That's just how she is. Don't think too much of it. When filming wrapped for the day, Julian, for the first time ever, woke me and said he'd drive me home. It was the first time he hadn't tried to maintain a professional distance. I was happy for the ride, until I opened the car door. Mila was sitting in the passenger seat. "Stella," she chirped, "I'm catching a ride too. You don't mind, do you?" "I don't mind," I said, climbing into the back without expression. The two of them chattered away, Mila's laughter echoing in the small space. Julian, needing a cigarette, lit one up. I instinctively reached to open a window. "Julian, darling," Mila complained, "my sinuses are very sensitive. Could you not smoke in the car?" He immediately stubbed it out. My fault, my fault. I forgot." She then turned to look at me, her tone sickeningly intimate. "See, Stella? You spoil him too much." I had told him once. I had said, "My lungs are weak. Please don't smoke in the car. I can't breathe." He had taken a long drag and blown a cloud of smoke right in my face. "Really? Still acting? You think that little mud puddle damaged your lungs?" he'd mocked. "You just want me to feel guilty and apologize. Stop pretending, Stella. If you don't like the smoke, you can get out." And he had. He'd pulled over on the side of a deserted suburban road and made me get out. I walked for 4 hours in the freezing cold to get home. The pneumonia came back, and I spent another week in the hospital. He never visited. He still thought I was just trying to manipulate him. The next day, I arrived on set to find Mila screaming at her agent. A makeup artist gleefully informed me that the story about the bottled water had been leaked to the press. "Serves her right," the makeup artist whispered. "Someone with no talent and no class deserves to be exposed. Only our dear director Cheen treats her like a treasure." I just smiled faintly. But then Julian approached me, his phone in hand. He dismissed the makeup artist, his voice grave. "This is going to be very bad for the film." And I continued to touch up my makeup, watching his reflection in the mirror. He looked the same, yet completely different. The handsome face was there, but I was no longer in his eyes. "She's the star," he said, taking a deep breath. "She can't have this kind of negative press. So I need you to take the blame for it." He must have sensed how monstrous the request was, because his voice softened. "Help me out, Stella. This film is so important to me. I promise, the very next project. I'll write a script just for you. I'll make you the leading lady. I'll make your dream come true. Besides, Mila really does have a skin condition, it's not her fault." His cold, calculating words sent a shiver down my spine. He wanted me to take the fall, to ruin my reputation, in exchange for another empty promise. "In your dreams." His face flushed with anger. "Stella, why do you have to be so petty? Can't you think about the bigger picture? Don't think I don't know what you're doing. You just want me to beg you, to satisfy your own ego. Well, it doesn't matter whether you agree or not. I've already released the story. You'll take the fall either way." How absurd. How utterly laughable. Just like that, I was thrown away, betrayed. My eyes burned, but I clenched my jaw, refusing to show any weakness. He stepped forward then, his movements hesitant, and pulled me into his arms. He patted my back, his voice a practiced, soothing tone. "Stella, be good. Don't you love those Givenchy gowns? I've ordered a custom one for you. You can wear it and walk the red carpet with me. With me by your side, the negative press won't affect you." My arms remained limp at my sides. I closed my eyes and realized I couldn't remember a single happy moment from our time together. His phone rang, breaking the silence. He released me, a smile instantly appearing on his face as he answered. I stood behind him, my mouth open, but no words came out. After the bottled water incident was resolved with me as the scapegoat, and my scenes were finished, I immediately left and joined Leo's production. The two films wrapped around the same time. On the night of the annual film awards, Julian brought me the Givenchy gown, magnanimously allowing me to walk the red carpet with him and Mila. But Mila had other plans. "Oh, Julian," she said, her face a mask of distress, "the staff lost my gown. I don't think I can walk the red carpet with you." Tears began to stream down her face. Julian's heart melted. "How could that happen? You're the star, you have to walk." His eyes fell on me. "Stella," he said, his voice low, "can you give your dress to Mila? Next time. I promise, next time, we'll walk together. Next time. Always next time." An endless chain of next times. He knew it was an unreasonable request. But this time I just smiled and agreed. I handed over the dress and walked away without a backward glance. I heard him start to say something, but Mila was already pulling at his arm, gushing, "It's beautiful, Julian. I love it." Under the flashing lights of the cameras, he and Mila were inseparable. Reporters were already asking if wedding bells were in their future. And then I emerged on the arm of Leo, representing my film, my masterpiece. Julian's face was a picture of disbelief. He looked like he wanted to charge across the carpet and confront me. I met his gaze and mouthed the words silently, my voice a cold whisper only he could hear in his mind. "Consider your role in my life officially wrapped, Julian." He found me backstage, his face a thundercloud. "What do you think you're doing?" he roared, without any preamble. "Going behind my back to shoot a film with Leo? You know he's my biggest rival." "I am a person, Julian. An actor. If the script is good, I'll take the role," I shot back. "Stella, are you doing this because I didn't give you the lead role?" He grabbed my shoulders, his voice pleading. "That script wasn't right for you. I told you, I'm waiting for the next one." I had heard those words so many times they had lost all meaning. I shoved him away. "Don't you understand what I'm saying? We are completely, irrevocably over." "What do you mean, over?" He grabbed my hand, a bitter smile on his face. "I don't understand. You have to give me a reason." Just then, Mila's sickly sweet voice called out his name. I pulled my hand free. "You hear that? That's your reason. Go on. Don't keep her waiting." He stood rooted to the spot, a slow, knowing smile spreading across his face. "You're jealous. That's all this is. Stella, you've taken this game too far." He grabbed my arm again, determined. "Come on. We're leaving." Leo appeared then, blocking his path. "Director Cheen," he said with a playful drawl, "where are you taking my leading lady?" "Your leading lady is right here," Mila said, rushing to Julian's side. "Julian, the interviews are about to start." Julian ignored her, glaring at Leo. "Leo, I'm talking to my girlfriend. Stay out of it." Leo feigned a gasp. "Your girlfriend? I thought that was Mila?" Just now, in front of all those reporters, when they asked when you two were getting married, she looked so shy and said it was all up to you. I snorted and stepped behind Leo. "Mila and I are just colleagues. Don't spread rumors." Julian blustered, but his words lacked conviction. He had allowed this to happen. "Enough. Whatever your relationship is, it has nothing to do with us," I said, tired of the drama. I took Leo's arm and we started to walk away. Julian started to follow, but Mila held him back, her voice thick with tears. "Julian, did I say something wrong? With Mila in the picture, he could never be fully mine. He would never change for me." He was probably comforting her right now, making more empty promises, vowing to lift her to even greater heights. One brave reporter brought up the bottled water incident. Before I could speak, Leo took the microphone. On my set, Stella is the consummate professional. She's dedicated, hardworking, and never complains. As for that other incident, I believe the truth will speak for itself. I hope the media can open their eyes and not be swayed by baseless rumors. Do your jobs as gatekeepers. Thank you. One person had asked me to be a scapegoat. Another had defended me. Stella, I thought to myself, you were truly blind. Thank you, I whispered to Leo. I'm sorry if this affects your film. He waved a dismissive hand. Don't worry about it. I'm a businessman. Protecting you is protecting my investment. He always called himself a businessman, but on set, his artistic standards were uncompromising. Julian always called himself an artist, but he had propped up a talentless hack. The thought made me laugh, a genuine, bubbling laugh that landed me on every major entertainment news site. The top trending topic was, Stella, stunningly beautiful. I suspected Leo was behind it. He immediately denied it. I would never do something so tacky. If I had money to waste on marketing, I'd be promoting Leo, the genius director, not your face. He had a point. Then, a makeup artist from the old crew sent me a link with a string of laughing emojis. Stella, look. Mila's been exposed. The link led to a secretly filmed video of Mila on set, bossily directing people to pour the bottled water into the well. The audio was unclear, but her arrogant demeanor was unmistakable. I sent back a crying laughing emoji and closed the app. My phone immediately started ringing. It was Julian. After a moment's hesitation, I answered. How long are you going to keep this up? He demanded, his voice frayed. I got you on the trending list. I made you famous. Why did you have to release that video of Mila? If you have rabies, go get a vaccine. Don't come barking at me. I slammed the phone down. But when I got back to my apartment building, he was waiting for me in the underground garage. Are you really not coming home? He asked. His face was unshaven and pale. This is my home, I said. Where else would I go? I pushed past him and walked toward the elevator. He followed, his voice taking on an unprecedented, pleading tone. Stella, the script I wrote for you is finished. We can start shooting soon. And I ordered several of the latest Givenchy gowns for you to choose from. Please, stop this. Come home with me. Men always think that material possessions can patch up emotional wounds. Do they not understand that a broken mirror cannot be made whole again? Or was it that my love for him had been so absolute that he had lost himself in it, believing that I was just throwing a tantrum, that I would never truly leave? I stared at him, genuinely confused. Julian, I said finally, we broke up. We have nothing to do with each other anymore. Stop coming to find me. If you do it again, I will call the police and report you for harassment. He looked stunned, as if he couldn't comprehend such finality. It took him a long moment to find his voice. Is it because of Mila? I only see her as a good colleague. Why are you so obsessed with her? Are you really going to throw away our 10-year relationship over something so small? Small? Men think these things are small. But a woman's decision to leave is never about one small thing. It's about the crushing weight of 1,000 small things, a mountain of disappointment. I nodded, my voice numb. Yes. I'm throwing it away. Fine. Stella, you're ruthless. He pulled a small, exquisite velvet box from his pocket and threw it on the ground. I was going to propose to you tonight, if you came home and stopped this nonsense. I see now there's no need. The ring rolled to my feet. I bent down and picked it up. A brilliant sapphire glittered in the center, surrounded by a halo of diamonds. I slipped it onto my ring finger and held up my hand to admire it. A flash of smug satisfaction crossed Julian's face. He opened his mouth to speak, but I cut him off. The ring is beautiful. But it's not my size. And my favorite stone is ruby. I pulled the oversized ring off my finger and pressed it into his hand. So, I said, my face devoid of emotion, whose size is it? And whose favorite is it? He had no answer. How could it have changed, he mumbled, lost. During the film's promotional tour, Leo and I traveled everywhere. Someone asked why my acting in Julian's films had been so wooden. Leo just chuckled. I answered patiently, perhaps I was too young then, and lacked life experience. Another reporter asked, Stella, you used to only work with director Cheen. Why did you decide to work with director Vance this time? One must always change, I said with a polite smile, pretending not to see Julian hiding in the back of the room, wearing a baseball cap. To remain stagnant is to be trapped in the mud. Leo stepped in. I think Stella has a brilliance that not everyone can see. Her performance in this film is an absolute triumph. I would even dare to predict that she will be the next best actress. The room erupted in applause. Somehow, Julian managed to get backstage, sticking to me like glue. This is the kind of film he tricks you into making, he hissed. Even if you're angry with me, don't joke with your career. What's the difference between an art film that makes you show your back and straight-up pornography? I looked him straight in the eye. And what about you? What about the time you made me wear a bikini and swim in a scene? That's different, he spluttered. That was for art. Then why did you rewrite the script for Mila, deleting all of her revealing scenes? Was that for art too? I sneered. You're a hypocrite. And besides, it doesn't matter anymore. We've gone our separate ways. He reached for my hand, but I pulled away. How can it not matter, Stella? I don't believe you could change your heart in just a few months. Is it because of Leo? Stella, I'll never work with Mila again. Please, come home. The house is so empty without you. My expression must have mirrored the impatience he used to show me. Don't overthink it. We broke up because I simply don't love you anymore. It has nothing to do with Mila or Leo. I would have left you eventually, it was just a matter of time. No. We were together, we said we would be together forever. 10 years. We fought our way out of that basement together. His voice grew frantic, his eyes red. I won't allow this. Stop acting like a mad dog, I said, my voice filled with disgust. Calm down. Let's part on good terms. But his pride wouldn't allow him to back down. Good terms? How can there be good terms after this? Stella, I gave you a chance to come back. You're the one who refused it. Don't come crawling back to me later. From behind me, I heard Leo's mocking laugh. You've got a lot of nerve. Does Stella look like she needs a chance from you? You're the one who mistook a pearl for a pebble. You're the fool. Julian's face went from white to red. His fist connected with Leo's jaw. What did you say? You've been poisoning her against me. You're a real piece of work, Leo. Leo didn't hesitate. He punched back. The two of them started grappling. I knew what would happen if the press saw this. I rushed forward to separate them and, without thinking, slapped Julian across the face. Have you had enough? This isn't your territory. Get out. The slap seemed to shatter the last of his composure. He looked at me with a bitter, broken smile. You hit me, for him? Are 10 years together mean less than the few months you've known him? You wasted 10 years of my life. My voice was cold as ice. Do you want to drag down the rest of it, too? Let go. Without another glance at him, I took Leo's arm and walked away. Leo's face was already swelling. I pressed an ice pack to his cheek. I'm sorry, I said. I didn't think he would do that. Leo winced in pain but couldn't resist a jab. Your taste in men is as bad as your taste in scripts. I couldn't argue with that. No wonder the reporters said your acting was robotic, he continued. If it weren't for my brilliant eye for talent, you'd still be a nobody. He seemed to be on a roll. You're actually a very talented actress. Tell me, why did you stick with Julian and his terrible films for so long? Because, I thought for a moment, but couldn't find a real reason. Because Seeing my distress, he waved his hand. Alright, forget it. Let's get you patched up. I've got another film waiting for you. By the way, do you have an agent? I should talk to them about signing you to our company. It would make things easier for the sequels. I met his gaze, embarrassed. No. Julian always handled everything. I'm a free agent now. He blinked, then shook his head in disbelief. Wow. Amazing. A real-life case of a woman waking up from a love-induced coma. So, you in? He held out a contract. I snatched it. I'm in. At 30, my career finally took off, but only after my heart had been shattered. I thought I would need a long time to heal, maybe by skiing in the Alps or planting flowers in the countryside. I never expected to heal by working so hard in the acting workshop Leo enrolled me in that I forgot all about love. The instructors were industry legends, notoriously tough. No matter who you were, if you didn't improve, you stayed and practiced until you did. I, with my soft southern accent, was frequently kept after class for my line delivery. Luckily, the film I had just shot was about a southerner, so it had added a certain charm. Now, my weakness was exposed. Leo showed up one evening with soup as I was practicing in front of a mirror. Working hard, I see, he said with a smile. So, my first gift to you as a signed artist. Worth the money, right? Completely. Thank you, Director Vance, I said with a grateful bow. Come on. I know a place with great soup, it's good for the lungs. Your breathing is a bit weak, probably from that lung issue. I didn't hesitate. I followed him out. You got that from filming that garbage movie in the mud puddle, didn't you? He asked casually, drumming his fingers on the steering wheel. I was surprised. How did you know? I know everything. I don't know why you worked so hard for that piece of trash. It wasn't worth it, he said with a dismissive shrug. Then, seeing my somber expression, he added, but your health is the most important thing, my little money tree. The soup place was famous for adding medicinal herbs that were good for the lungs. Leo ordered a daily delivery for me. He was determined to nurse me back to health. I didn't disappoint him. My acting improved by leaps and bounds. After my film, Horizon, was released, luxury brands came calling. Leo was ecstatic, raking in the profits. He started looking at me with a strange, lingering smile that made my skin crawl. Director, if you have something to say, just say it. You're scaring me. He coughed. What's with the director? It makes us sound so distant. You can just call me Leo. He leaned in, his voice a low whisper. According to my sources, you're on the nomination list for Best Actress at the Orchid Awards tonight. Seeing my disbelief, he nodded firmly. He leaned back, crossing his legs. I knew you had it in you back in college. I just never understood why you were always trailing after that guy from the directing department. By the time I made a name for myself and tried to find you, you had practically vanished from the industry. I was stunned. We knew each other in college? You sang a song at the freshman welcome party, he said, then burst out laughing. I blushed. And, it captivated you? No. It was terrible. It was so bad, but you sang it with such confidence. It was hilarious. He was laughing so hard he was clutching his stomach. I glared at him. He immediately straightened up, pretending to look for some important document. Leo, stop faking it. You're a real piece of work. The soup. The soup is here. Let's go drink soup. For the sake of the soup, I let it slide. Leo's information was correct. I was nominated for Best Actress. So was Mila. On the night of the ceremony, Mila arrived in a stunning gown, escorted by Julian. Don't worry, Leo whispered to me. Her acting is worse than your old robotic performances. You've got this in the bag. The words were barely out of his mouth when the presenter announced my name. As he had predicted, it was me. He gave me a huge hug. Go on. This is the beginning of your walk down the flower road. The spotlight found me. On the giant screen, I saw a flash of Mila's forced smile and Julian's automatic applause. I walked towards my first Best Actress award. I knew there would be many more to come. After accepting the award, I stood at the podium. I hadn't prepared a speech. I just looked out at the audience, my mind flashing through the years. To win this award today, I said, the words coming from my heart, I have to thank everyone who has helped me along the way. Especially director Leo Vance. If it weren't for him, no one would have believed that Stella could be a leading lady. Thank you. The camera cut to Leo, who made an exaggerated heart shape with his hands. After the ceremony, I was looking for Leo when Julian and Mila stopped me. Stella, congratulations. You finally won your first award, Julian said, applauding. Mila quickly added, Stella, Julian has been following your career so closely. He was happier than anyone when you won. He even told me not to compete this year. If it weren't for my fans, I wouldn't have even come. I would have just given the award to you. Her tone was cloying, her eyes darting toward Julian. I rolled my eyes. So what you're saying is, the Orchid Awards are rigged, and you let me win? I grabbed her wrist. Let's go find the judges and clear this up. I don't want anything that's been handed to me. Mila squealed for Julian to help her, but he just snapped, if you don't know how to talk, then don't. You're upsetting Stella. I had heard that tone a million times. I never thought he'd use it on her. He then turned to me, his voice soft and indulgent. Stella, are you happy now? You won the award, you beat Mila. Now that you've had your revenge, will you come home with me? You really think I'm just throwing a tantrum? I had to laugh. We're finished. Mila, eager to prove her worth, started shaking my arm. Stella, it's all my fault. I apologize. Please, forgive Julian. Who do you think you are? I snarled, shaking her off. She then pulled a designer bag from her purse and shoved it into my hands. I know you were angry because you didn't get to wear this to the red carpet. I ordered a new one for you. Inside was a Givenchy gown from a past season, one that had probably been worn by a dozen other starlets. As I held it up, she looked at Julian, seeking praise. See, Julian? I knew she was just angry about the dress. Girls, you know, they care so much about these material things. I tossed the bag back at her. Don't insult me with this. Some things, and some people, once I've discarded them, I don't want them back. If you like picking up my cast-offs, be my guest. Her lip trembled, and tears welled in her eyes. Julian, how could she say that to me? That's enough. Shut your mouth, he said, not even looking at her as he pulled her behind him. Just stay away from me, both of you, I said, turning to find Leo. But Julian grabbed my arm. Stella, I really know I was wrong, he pleaded, his voice low. I've neglected you all these years. I'll make it up to you. His eyes were full of regret. Mila was the lead in a play I directed in college, that's why I promise, it will never happen again. You are my only leading lady. I want to be the leading lady of my own life, I said impatiently. Stop bothering me. Did the slap last time not wake you up? Mila gasped. How could you hit Julian? I had had enough of her whining. I slapped her across the face. I hit you, too. Now get lost. I gave her another for good measure. You slapped me twice on that set. Now we're even. Stop bothering me. I felt a sense of immense satisfaction. Mila collapsed into Julian's arms, playing the victim, but he just shoved her away. She stumbled, tripping on her own elaborate gown and falling in a heap. He didn't even glance at her. He walked straight to me, taking my hand, which was red from the slap. Did you hurt yourself? He asked, his voice full of concern. Stella, if you'll just come back to me, forgive me, I'll do anything you want. I pulled my hand away. I want you to stay away from me. Forever. Leo, having just won Best Director, finally found me. Seeing Julian harassing me, he cursed. Director Cheen, are you insane? Why are you always bothering my artist? Without a word, Julian swung at him. Violence was always his solution. I threw myself in front of Leo, taking the punch to my face. The world exploded in a flash of white. Leo caught me as I stumbled. What are you doing? I can't win a fight against him. If you two fight and the press sees it, it won't be good for either of you, I said, forcing a smile. Julian looked horrified. He reached for me, his hands trembling. Stella, I didn't mean to. I never wanted to hurt you. He was so filled with guilt he slapped himself across the face. I'm sorry, Stella. In the past, my heart would have ached for him. Now, I just found it funny. Did he love me, or did he love the way I sacrificed for him? Julian, I don't love you. When the words left my mouth, his eyes finally overflowed. I don't believe you, he choked out, his voice hoarse. I don't believe you could stop loving me. Please, just give me one more chance. I shook my head. No. I gave you 10 years of chances. You didn't take a single one. I don't have time to play your games anymore. Games? His emotions finally shattered. He grabbed my shoulders, shaking me. This wasn't a game. Leo couldn't pull him off me, so he just kicked him hard in the stomach. Julian fell to the ground, clutching his abdomen, sobbing. It wasn't a game. I love you, Stella. Mila tried to help him up, but he pushed her away. I took Leo's hand and we walked away. Behind me, I heard him shouting, I was serious, Stella. Please, just turn around and look at me. Perhaps my departure was too final. This time, he didn't follow. Not long after, I was shooting another film with Leo, traveling all over the country to find the perfect locations. It wasn't until we wrapped that I saw the news. Mila's career had imploded. A storm of scandals, affairs with foreign directors, flings with younger actors, her diva-like behavior on set, had gotten her completely blacklisted. I raised an eyebrow at Leo. He just shrugged. She's a nobody. Not worth my time. He was right. Julian also announced his permanent retirement from the industry. A tabloid paper published a photo of him, drunk and disheveled, in a bar. Of course, none of it had anything to do with me. I closed the page without a second thought. Leo was very pleased with my new no men, just my sword attitude. He wrote another film just for me. In 5 years, Leo directed 3 films that made me a Grand Slam award-winning actress. At the final awards ceremony, I thanked him, as always. He posted on social media later that night, Stella and I are a team. Without her, the films would not have been so successful. A good film met a good actor, and a good actor met a good film. May we continue to create wonderful things together in the future. I was basking in the glow of my award when he sidled up to me, a mischievous grin on his face. Well, Your Highness, now that you're the queen of your own story, have you considered casting a leading man? I shot him a look. His intentions were painfully obvious. I decided to tease him. You know, I have been thinking about it. A young, handsome actor just confessed his feelings for me. The wolf pup type. I quite like him. He jumped to his feet. Who? Who is this shameless person? He leaned in, his voice earnest. What about me? I'm talented. And I'm not bad looking. I looked him up and down. Are you now? I went back to admiring my trophy. He continued to buzz in my ear, listing all his wonderful qualities. The smile never left my lips. This, I realized, was what happiness felt like.